I want to highlight two things tonight that are part of this renaissance and the work that APH has been engaged in, and the invitation to all of you become a part of that. And the first one is the DOT experience, and some of you know what that is about. But yes, be excited about that. We are in the process of recreating not only the museum at APH, but the experience at APH. And our goal is to create this experience that will not only be the most inclusive, but will challenge misconceptions and stereotypes about blindness. And so to better tell this story, I want to introduce Haas and Marje Kaiser, who are leading the efforts to talk a little more about the DOT experience.
It's been a while since I've been referred to as old timber, but here we are. Trying to follow him is just like not an easy act. I don't know. Anyway, when you came in and you got your name tags, most of you got to pick, and you have something else hanging, whatever you thought meant you. I snuck in and got them all because this is what we're trying to do with the DOT experience. We are trying to make all of this become a reality. And it's a big project. And I am so excited to be a part of it as somebody on the museum committee. We have great plans, as Craig said, to make this a chance to change perspectives about blindness, to spur insight and action, to welcome everybody to the space, and to really be a model of inclusivity and accessibility. Yeah, that's a big thing. And we also hope that when we pull this off, this will be a global attraction for inclusion and equality, and it will showcase stories of blindness and the human experience. Our work aims toward a more open-minded society that includes people with disabilities more fully in the workplace, and a lot of you are working on that, and also in our schools, in our communities, in every single venue. So the DOT experience, here it is. And if I just want you to imagine for a minute how long it took for us to come up with a name and for the departments that worked on this to come up with this logo. So the name, the DOT experience, is in black, bold letters. So they're stacked up with the word the DOT and experience. The two lines of type are equal in length, and the word the and experience are the same size, and the word DOT is larger and more prominent. To the right of that is a braille cell made of 6 individually colored circles, which have all been vetted for low vision, and they represent a braille cell. The DOT experience name pays homage, of course, to APH's history and the commitment to braille. And so that series of 6 dots in combination, as you well know, forms letters and numbers and music and words, and it is a code for communication and for lifelong literacy. So we think the DOT experience is the right name. What you may not know is that 15 distinct buildings or additions of varying sizes and configurations literally surround the original building at APH. The way we figured it, about every 20 years we added another addition since we were first occupied in 1883. The original building is going to be preserved as we renovate and update our office and production facilities, and we're going to open the DOT experience at 28,000 square feet. That is roughly 5 times the size of the current museum. We're creating a brand new front door attraction for APH, and a model and a home for the AFB Helen Keller archives. Craig wasn't going to throw any numbers at you, but I'll throw one. The DOT experience construction is being constructed at a cost of $22 million, which includes exhibits and is only part of the overall building process. The other part that I think you should know that isn't in my script is that the foundation has already made a sizable contribution toward that goal. So we really believe that this is something that needs to happen. We believe that it's going to be well worth doing. We've talked about some of these objectives that I'm going to hit them just briefly. Obviously, that whole business of changing perspectives about blindness is really an important thing that we have to happen. People in this room know. You know people who are blind and visually impaired, and you know that that's not a barrier to their doing good work. But the rest of society doesn't necessarily know that. And so we're trying to create a more open-minded society and an inclusive work world through, this is the part that really excites me, through authentic first-person stories about people's experience and what's worked for them and how they got to do the things that they've decided they want to do with their lives. I think that's the really important piece. It isn't APH telling the story of blindness, it's people telling their own story. Secondly, we really are trying to work to design a global model of inclusion and equality, and we want to influence universal design in other public and private spaces. This is, again, something that we're already seeing starting to happen. We're working with a company called Solid Light, and several times they have mentioned things that they're learning from this process of working with APH and the committees, and they're starting to work it into some of their other projects. It's a start, and we're hoping to not only be able to showcase it, but also to show people how we did it along the way, to be a model so that other people can do the same. And third, we're working to elevate disability as an essential part of the DEIA conversation. Obviously, we're focusing on inclusion and accessibility, and we want to make Louisville a mecca of accessibility conversations, building on APH's 165 years of work already as educator, champion, and innovator in this sector. Joe, why don't you go through and share some of the experience of building itself? We're going to do kind of a walkthrough here, so come to the description.
Bear with us. Exactly. As we've said, the DOT experience will serve as the new front door for APH and welcome museum visitors as well as business visitors, applicants for open jobs, and others to the institution. At the lobby entrance on the left, you will encounter an expanse of floor-to-ceiling glass storefront windows with an applied dot pattern in translucent white. 2 sets of double glass entry doors are set within an alcove that's created by the glass facade wrapping around the corner. On the right wall of the alcove, a high contrast DOT Experience logo appears on a black wall. Each colored dot will be assigned a texture that will also be carried through the building as part of our navigation and wayfinding system that we are presently designing. In the welcome everyone spirit, upon entering the building, each person will be greeted and directed to the welcome and ticketing desk, located to the left. The retail area is further left behind the ticketing desk, and a tactile experience area is ahead of you, deeper into the lobby. Centrally located in the lobby space is a large orientation station, which allows visitors to explore, test, and understand a variety of tools and resources that will be available within the DOT experience related to orientation and wayfinding. Beyond the orientation station, along the back wall, is an entrance to our new education center and a seating area framed by a large, raised, welcome everyone statement. Oop, too fast. Well, let's see if I can get it to go back. A new large group elevator and stairs will take visitors to the main DOT experience galleries. Greeting visitors and inviting them into the second floor experience is an immersive theater that uses voices and visuals of people who are blind and low vision to introduce the spirit and emotional resonance of the experience to come, drawing from the project's cast of featured storytellers. Then in the Who We Are gallery, an array of incredibly diverse individuals will tell authentic stories of their personal human experience. They represent artists, athletes, business persons, They are in education, healthcare, advocacy. They run podcasts, produce films, write policy, and take photos, among other things. Visitors will engage with story stations around the outside of the space as cast members tell their own life stories that will be accompanied by objects from their everyday lives. The American Foundation for the Blind Helen Keller Archive is a preeminent part of the DOT experience. Helen Keller's desk is on display as one of 6 vignettes that allow Helen to tell her own life and legacy story. Her words are prominent in this space that arcs from birth through her educational journey and beyond to a young woman finding her voice, a mature leader and spokesperson, and a revered global ambassador. In this image, there's an opaque Helen Keller sitting at the desk with guests gathered around and taking pictures. Visitors can also browse the AFB Helen Keller Archive to explore letters, speeches, and more that truly bring Helen to us all in her own words. Facing west from Keller's desk, with a few desktop items visible in the lower portion of the view, the Global Ambassador section presents artifacts and tactile representations through a series of casework and display mounts. The left or south wall that extends from Keller's office vignette features 3 high-contrast artifact displays: boomerang, incense burner, and Paul's favorite, the doll. You'll have to ask him about that. In the center of the area, the narrow freestanding wall display reveals a Zulu shield within a case. To the right, a large wall-sized black and white photo of Keller holding a large book dominates the view. On the far wall, a large wooden circular element frames a white tactile relief world map. The DOT Experience designers from Solid Light, along with the APH team, are taking on the challenge of making everything touchable and fully accessible, even original artifacts. This means an extended study and contemplation of every single object, and lengthy discussion about how to translate each physical object into meaningful representations of touch, texture, form, weight, dimension, temperature, and more. This is one of the most exciting and challenging elements of the project. After leaving the Helen Keller Gallery, visitors move to the Change the World Gallery. One main story anchoring the start of this space is the War of the Dots. A curved high-contrast wall moves visitors through the arc of time, representing early raised letters, moon type, various attempts at code, and ultimately the prevailing solution developed by young Louis Braille. This area features a life-cast statue of Louis Braille against a yellow circle backdrop with a title that reads, Young Inventor, Louis Braille. Braille is surrounded by interpretation, a Braille slate and stylus, and a Code for Everything component on the left that invites visitors to explore and understand the Braille code as it also relates to math and music. This gallery introduces visitors to innovations and breakthroughs and includes the origin story of Schools for the Blind, the impacts of mainstreaming, a focus on Kentucky School for the Blind, the birth of APH, and how blind and low vision individuals go beyond the classroom into the workforce. In this view, there is a freestanding partial wall with pass-throughs above and below. The wall is yellow and white and features the beginning of the Innovation Schools for the Blind section. This wall features interpretive material, a historic photo in large scale, and a smaller tactile form, a tactile map of the United States with dots that represent the locations of schools, and a bust of Anson Pennyman. To the far right, there are shelves featuring Braille interpretation interspersed along the wall. The shelves are white with a black contrasted edge. Facing north, a freestanding L-shaped wall features large white letters on a black background that reads Optical Innovation. To the left is a sculptural see-through letter wall. A pill-shaped structure spans the corner of the wall to cover the left and right sides of the display. On the left, there are 2 products, a Jupiter and a Matte Connect, sitting on a white platform. A shelf with stacked books, menus, mail, and petri dishes with bugs that are real and graphic sits between them. A circular panel reads, Take a Closer Look. On the right, against the black background, there is a CCTV, mouse magnifier, analog magnifier interactive, large type printing plate, tactile map, and black and white photo and tactile representation of Robert Irwin. Beyond this view, to the left is the accessible classroom, and to the right is the Making Braille section. All of these areas, as well as Braille Goes Digital and Giving Voice to Information, showcase past, present, and future of APH products and innovations with the blind and low vision field as we work towards a more inclusively designed world for all. Facing the northwest corner of the gallery, the full scenic kitchen and home area of the Living in an Accessible World is visible, including a kitchen space with open shelving above, light wood cabinets below, a black kitchen countertop, and titles on the wall reading Accessible Tools for Every Day, Measure with a Talking Scale. Accessible kitchen products are displayed on the counters, inviting interaction. Interpretive panels provide details about the products. In the middle of the west wall is a vertical media screen featuring Christine Ha. To the right of the kitchen display, two freestanding walls meet a 90-degree angle to create a corner and form another room of this scenic house. Large black letters read "At Home with Accessible Tech," and wall features a pass-through bookcase with Braille books and accessible products, with a table in the center of this room featuring Code Jumper and an interpretive panel. While we've come a very long way in the overall design intent for the DOT experience, we have much yet to do. Just last week, we launched our inclusive design prototyping process, which invites about 15 local individuals who bring varying perspectives and lived experience with disability into our evaluation and design process formally. These individuals will be working with us over the next 6 months to test and provide feedback on many aspects of our design and delivery approach. Last week, they provided concrete feedback about sound levels and our approach to tactile objects. There is much yet to do, and we want to get you all involved as well. I'm going to pitch it here back to Marge.
Okay. Obviously, this isn't just an APH thing. We want to do this together. This is all of us. And there are a couple of ways that we've come up with that you can get involved when you go back home. And I want you to think about it because we're not even asking you to do anything quite yet. We've got 2 campaigns that we're thinking about. One is our influencer campaign, and the second one is the We Welcome Change campaign. And both of them are going to launch in January, so we want you to go home and sort of get ready for this. I think these are some really exciting, innovative ways to do it. For $250, you can honor someone who has significantly influenced your life through school, work, family, community, your church. It doesn't matter. Whoever you feel is worthy of your honor on this wall. I've already decided Bert Boyer is going to be mine, my first one. And I'm going to try to make the first donation in January. You'll have to work to beat me to it. The second way is a way that we can get our kids involved. And relatively easy, except for the last part. We'll get to the last part in a minute. But we hope that you'll get involved by collecting pennies, literally pennies, which then you have a local artist, yet to be named, use to create a tactile art installation with the pennies. Challenge is getting all those pennies to Louisville, but you'll figure that out. You'll figure it out. I know you will. I'm shipping mine ahead. That's all I can say. Anyway, we're really looking forward to that. I really hope that all of you in all of your schools and all of your agencies will say, you know what? We want a piece of this. We want to be a part of the DOT experience because we really welcome all of you. Okay, Joe?
Yep. Here we go. I think we should have a penny pile-up at next year's annual meeting. Where's Leanne? How do we feel about that? I think she's in the back of the room. So you can bring your suitcases, you can bring all the kids' pennies from all corners of the country. I think it sounds like a great thing. So Craig stole my thunder earlier. We do have a fidget spinner on the table in front of everyone. So if you don't have enough for people at your table, see the advancement team. They're right here in the center of the room with their hands raised up. And they can supply you with more spinners that have lights. I didn't realize these were like concert-going devices, so that's awesome. Take this, use it at your desk, or put it in your pocket to keep your hands busy, and remind you about the DOT experience and about what we are working to create together over the course of the next year and a half or so till we get to 2025, when the DOT experience will open to the public. If you'd like to give this pen to somebody else that you want to get engaged in this project, that's another great way to use the swag as well. The advancement team will be in the back of the room after the presentation ends this evening. If anybody would like to explore our tactile floor plans, we did our visual description today. We have a session on Friday. I know we have 70 or so people signed up for the session with Mike Hudson and myself and a member of the Solid Light team. So if you're part of that, you'll get a chance to actually fly through the exhibit design model, which is kind of cool. But if you'd like to see our tactile floor plans, see the advancement team at the end of this evening. We have really been breaking ground in this project also from a project management standpoint. And that is part of what we are documenting and hoping to share with others. In fact, we spoke at a conference, museum conference in Indianapolis a couple of months ago, and people sort of flooded up afterwards wanting to know how we were making all of our decision-making tools and project management tools accessible. So I think we're really making some ground there and progress there. And let's see. If you would like the link to the full-blown press kit related to the groundbreaking we did back in May, it is located on the newsroom site of the APH webpage. And I think that's all I have. We really look forward to launching this influencer campaign and the We Welcome Change. You get that name, right? We welcome change. We welcome your change, your pennies. You think you're so clever when you put things together like that, and then you have to explain it. But that's okay. We do welcome your change. And we'll take your dimes and your nickels and your quarters and your $100,000 too, if you'd like. So, right? I think I've said my piece.